Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is November 9th, 2022. So happy Wednesday. We've got a lot on deck this morning in regards to stocks in play. We certainly had some interesting volatility yesterday. We're seeing a lot of direct catalysts in regards to different assets making either relative lows or just new information kind of bleeding into their price. We had a little bit of crypto volatility. I'll say a little in that it's making waves in regards to some of the focus of the market. And once again, that risk on behavior kind of called into question, along with the actual midterm elections, which is more or less a known event, and we're pretty much seeing the full results at this point, albeit there are a few final results left to be undiscovered or left to be discovered. So I figured we'd start off just by looking at the expected move. Once again, this is weekly option pricing for S&P volatility. We mark this every single week just to kind of know what our upper and lower risk levels look like and what to expect on the week, not to be surprised by price swings and some of the over and under extensions that we are seeing each and every day. As you can tell, yesterday was a trending morning session. We saw a pretty significant top get placed. We fell off of a cliff, a lot of downside volatility kind of sparking into the midday session, and then that afternoon bounce, which a lot of the BBT members were able to capitalize on as I was able to lead them through that volatility. So with regards to the SPX, we are seeing, at least for now, a speculative lower high. We are also underneath our expected move. So for the week, we haven't really achieved what the option market has priced. And as I mentioned, this is usually a more rare occurrence. I think especially more frequently, we've been seeing not only touches of expected move boundaries, but we've been seeing intra-week breaches. And at the worst case, we're seeing things like overextensions, 2 sigma moves, and those lower probability breakouts, essentially, from these levels. So for the rest of the week, keep in mind that the market still has the capacity to move very quickly higher or lower. But not only that, what's going to drive it? And that's probably going to be on the shoulders of the CPI report tomorrow. We'll look at that a little bit more on tomorrow's session, maybe talk through some of the numbers and maybe some of the expectations. But for now, we are kind of mid-range in both the option point of view, along with the actual open today, which is putting us pretty much dead center on yesterday's trading range. You'll note here, we are looking probably to open at or near previous day close, assuming there isn't any more extreme price volatility. I've got this 382 level marked. That is from our September balance range. And as far as the S&P is concerned, as I drill in to yesterday's trading session, I actually think it's a great trading session to mark those significant levels. One of the most obvious ones is, of course, the highs and the lows, but in between price, I would also consider things like 384, which was both the distribution the distribution range low that started our sell-off. You can very clearly see when things changed from our morning uptrend into a pretty steep decline. I'd also mark things like the morning balance. We did start our trend at approximately 380 S&P. And while that doesn't necessarily coincide exactly with our pre-market lows, we are seeing some defense at the 380 price levels. So these areas of interest, you want to be thinking about how a marketplace will often accumulate or distribute the morning session, the balance range in the morning. It'll decide on a direction, and usually those participants are either getting in or getting out, maybe even adding to their position for the day. If you look at this more, I would say like heuristically, the participants from yesterday's trade are not necessarily at any sort of significant risk. We haven't truly seen a decline because ultimately we did close kind of mid-range, but we also didn't really see an advance either. That trend day did end in a more rounded reversal, but we do have some levels. This is kind of how I would mark my S&P chart if I was looking for technical levels. Just remember that this 382 is not from yesterday. It's more from that September balance range. So if you're looking for a little bit of maybe S&P edge, that's kind of what I would do for my session today. I'd also do the same thing on the NASDAQ. The structure here is pretty similar. I would say some of the bounces were not quite as volatile. They didn't quite make it to some of these high-end levels like they did on the S&P. And just like we saw in the S&P, there was an uptrend that led to a distribution, and then we saw the volatility really kick in mid-session. So I won't go through that exercise here, but it is an equivalent exercise. Bigger picture, I'm looking at this as a possible back test of these areas. Once again, 390 S&P and NASDAQ closer to some of these November highs, the highs that were printed before we had the FOMC. These are going to be in focus for probably quite a while. We'll see if the CPI changes the look of this chart. But overall, we know the core participation is net bearish and also protected by a lot of price activity. So it's one of those assessments where unless you've bought the NASDAQ very recently, you're either underwater on your position, and as most participants have been feeling this year, we're also looking back at some 2020 levels for the NASDAQ. This is what's kind of been the inflection point, along with the fib retracement that we identified earlier in the month. So all that said, what kind of stocks do we have in play today? What are some of their catalysts? I'll talk through some of that volatility as well. For me, it was based more solely on what's going on with crypto. And, for that, I think we'll have a pretty good watch list today. There probably doesn't need to be a ton of digging and searching because a lot of stocks have come out with earnings, and those are going to be the ones with the biggest gaps this morning, the ones that probably have the most potential to move. So let's start off with some names that are just kind of in focus. Tesla yesterday did make a new 52-week low. So as we kind of zoom this out, we can see that, let's do a 3-year. We can see where we kind of are located price-wise. I've certainly marked some of the more extreme lows back in early 2021. And as we are seeing more news about what the CEO of this company is doing, we are also learning that there is some selling from that individual. Elon is kind of taking action to facilitate other purchases, and some of that selling pressure is coming from the CEO directly. Now, obviously, the market tends to be a little bit forward-looking in that regard, so we might have seen some of the downside more recently. I am looking at some short-term divergence starting to form here in regards to just kind of key indicators that a lot of traders are familiar with. Things like MACD divergence, where we're getting a lower low, but we're getting higher lows on a recovering MACD cycle and a more rising histogram during this period. I'm also looking at the RSI here. We did technically just print a higher low on the RSI, albeit we are a bit oversold. So some possible divergence forming here that could lead to rallies to kind of resolve that resolution of price and divergence. But like most things, divergence in these indicators does not necessarily tell you price risk. So be very careful assuming that we've hit a floor at this point in time. It's more about the risk to reward as a bear is starting to become less enticing and probably more risky. So that's one name that's obviously putting some pressure on the S&P. You compare that to a stock like Meta, which we do have some additional clarification. It looks like some of those layoffs are being finalized. The company is letting go, I believe, last I saw, about 11,000 employees. And the market is responding currently quite bullish to that news. You'll note that Meta is not only up on the session this morning, but pretty significant move back to 100. This ticker has a lot of work to do from a technical sense. It's been a great bounce, and this line on my chart here is coming from some pretty significant lows back in, looks like 2016. It was kind of the floor of 2016 pricing. Not necessarily knowing if that one was going to hold, but marking them along the way, seeing how price responds. And if this does end up holding for a period of time, I think Meta might have a floor level to kind of work off of. We might see a bit more range-based trading as opposed to just decline in this asset. And just kind of looking back and the moving averages here, the overextension can certainly be felt. I've rarely seen something like a weekly 20 period trying to catch up to price this significantly, especially from this type of decline. We've anchored to this MA a few times. This is a moment to maybe kind of avoid some of the upside risk in the stock as we get some more news about the company. So I'll be looking bullish on stocks like Meta, not only because of the gap. I think it just has that overreach to the downside, a nice floor level to kind of trade around in the future. And as far as the trend is concerned, even though we are touching the highs of our earnings day candle, I'll be looking for things like some partial gap fills in the near future, and then probably going against that once we get something like a daily 20 to kind of realign with the price. You'll notice a lot of our anchored sell-offs are actually occurring around this moving average. Not every single one, but more or less the weakened positions. So these are some overreach and underreach kind of areas for this asset. So let's take a look at some of our earnings. We had stocks like Disney. This one's going to be in a weakened position this morning. We closed at about 100. The option market was pricing about an $8 move on this asset. If you'll notice here, this was a little bit higher at the close. Some of that is starting to unwind, usually in the after hours before the option market closes. But right before earnings, this was pretty much at $8. We closed at exactly 100, plus or minus 10 cents. And as you can see, we're looking to open at 92. And this is kind of the difference between the reaction versus the actual open. Disney did see additional decline all the way to that extreme of 89. But for now, we're looking to close right at the about $8 boundary from our $100 close. So once again, just another note to expected move. It tends to be a pretty significant range to kind of play in earnings. And no matter how bad or good the move looks, usually the option market gets it pretty close to being accurate, especially the closer you are to the expiration. So I do have some, I think these are sloping support levels, probably not anchored perfectly. We are looking at some possible sloping support. The issue that I have with it is I think it's more likely to break. This is a pretty poor trend line support. The slope is not very good. Usually you want to see something with 30-degree plus for good trends. And obviously the sentiment has been bearish over the last couple of quarters, since we topped out in 2021. So still looking bearish on this name. I think earnings kind of puts us at that key inflection point. We could see something like this throughout today's session, but overall, I think in the future, we might see additional downside on this stock. I'd be looking kind of like a lot of assets. I'm kind of looking at the floor levels for the price to more or less line up with the 200 period on the weekly or monthly, depending on how steep the decline has been. Disney's one of those ones where we've hit the weekly 200. We're still underneath it. We're looking pretty poor on our kind of pattern-based posture. So overall, still looking very bearish on this name. But earnings today, that would be a nice catalyst to maybe move it a little bit lower, assuming we can go through the expected move. Let's see, what other names do we have? We had stocks like Affirm. These are kind of lower in price, at least based on previous levels. Really high implied volatility, but with that, a couple of bucks of expected move. Affirm, for example, about $4 of expected move. Let's take a look how it actually moved. We closed at about 15.50. We moved to about 12.30. So for that, it's about $3.20. Probably didn't achieve the full expected move. Usually the higher IV names, if they're not going to breach expected move, they're often kind of more self-contained just because there's so much hedging going on. And that usually keeps the market maker locked in to those price regions where more participants are trading and more active. So this one's already recovering as well. So I'd be kind of interested to see if this one's going to be net bullish on the session, just to get that recovery in play, and then more of a fade in the future, as it was a relatively bearish overall earnings. So let me see if I can take a look back historically. There's really not a lot of levels on this thing down here. It's obviously very beaten down from its all-time highs. And most of these price regions are a little bit undefined. They haven't really proven themselves to be the lows or the highs. They haven't really broken out with any conviction. So a lot of these are going to be reactionary levels, but not fully defined supports. So same idea with Upstart, and this one's kind of interesting because we are below the IPO lows, or I think this one might have been a SPAC, but basically the lowest prices of this particular ticker have been breached. And as we look at earnings, obviously we're significantly gapped down. We're underneath a lot of those levels. Once again, just a lot of undefined participation down here. The expected move was about $4, 19 to 15. It's about $4. It was a little bit of a steeper decline, but they're already rallying it back to the expected move range. And that's really what's important. It's not necessarily the breach in the earnings, but it's kind of where we start trade on the session, because that's when the option market will open. We'll actually see some new volume coming in. There's a couple more names. I don't know if I'll be able to get through them all. Stocks like Lucid are in focus. Just go through that same analysis here. Lucid was pricing about $1.70. Looks like it's going to open within about $1, but we did see about a $2 drop total. So pretty close to expected move, maybe a little bit farther to the downside. What are some other names? Mara. And this will kind of dovetail into the crypto discussion. Mara did see a little bit of volatility, but it was a more volatile trading session as well. So it was probably hard to kind of judge the expected move relative to what was happening in regards to Binance and FTX. But this was a stock in play yesterday, and it certainly had some of those high and low inflections that we felt throughout the session. Okay, so shifting into a little bit of the crypto side, and I'm gonna do this more technically. The news is something that y'all can kind of look up and define here, but I just want to talk about the impact that it could have to us in the equities market. And obviously, if you're still engaged in crypto trading or investing, this news is short-term important for understanding what's going on. If we look at the just BTC USD price chart, it is true that yesterday we actually touched and tested I'll call it the 20, I don't even know what to call this level. It's basically our lowest price this year. It's our bear market lows that so far have held for a couple of months. We haven't seen another fresh low until yesterday. We are seeing some testing going on. And what's been so interesting is the catalyst that's driving it. We do have Binance kind of absorbing FTX exchange. That is going to result in some liquidity drive throughout the FTT token and some of the, I guess, acquisition necessities that are going on in order for one exchange to absorb the other. For the most part, I don't fully understand those complexities, so I'm not going to speak on them too much, but it is disrupting the price chart and causing a lot of volume and volatility in the underlying assets that we know and love. Really, no matter where you look, a lot of the alts felt it, usually a little bit harder than something like Bitcoin. We saw Ethereum kind of hit a high of about 1580 mid-session, and then all the way to relative lows of about 1138. This one actually is not testing its 2022 lows, but you can tell that there's been a big disruption. And I've even got things like the 200, in this case, daily moving average, which has been rejected quite hard. So it's interesting to see both the technical respect of price along with the catalyst and when it's occurring. I usually see price and catalyst kind of line up at the same time and will often spark new trends in a market. So what do we do with this information? I think if you're trading crypto, you just want to be very aware that there's going to be some heightened volatility coming into the space. Whether you're trading sort of the core assets, or if you're looking to maybe reaccumulate, you might be seeing new fresh lows in some of these assets, and a lot of the more speculative ones, which did see recent volatility to the upside. Those have kind of come in pretty hard. This is actually one that's kind of interesting as far as technical levels. Tokens like Doge, while seeing downside, are actually respecting their 200 at this point in time, as a long. So it's kind of interesting to see who's leading and lagging through some of the volatility events. We're also going to likely continue to see this bleed over into the S&P. And what I mean by that is you can kind of look at a short-term comparison chart here. We'll go ahead and add the SPX on yesterday, or let's do the SPY. big price scale. And that doesn't look right, but is that right? Let me do like a 5-minute. There we go. So, this is a little skewed. I don't like how they they map out the overnight sessions, but maybe starting from here, you can tell that some of the volatility from yesterday's session correlates quite well with the highs and lows that were being experienced in not all crypto assets, but just looking at Bitcoin as kind of a guide. The relative low in yesterday's trade, as we were testing 2022 lows, happened to line up within a 5-minute period to the S&P lows. So whether you're trading one or the other, the bounce we felt in the S&P yesterday lined up quite well with when the bounce started in something like BTC USD. You can even see the spike highs and a little bit of that mid-range defense as the S&P was bouncing off of things like previous day close and some of the morning session. So in volatility, a lot of assets tend to correlate. That's what we've been seeing both in the equities market, and while we haven't looked at crypto in a while, it can be in other asset classes too, especially when there is a direct positive and negative correlation that can be ascertained. What's been less important recently is just the day-to-day price movement, because there hasn't been a ton of volatility in crypto probably over the past couple of months. There's been some days and events, but this has been probably the biggest volatility shakeup we've seen recently. And I just wanted to show this correlation because I think it's key if you're looking to maybe time some of these trades. You'll note here this low yesterday, as I mentioned, corresponds to those absolute lows back in July, I believe it's July. Ignoring the comparison chart here. So as far as timing bounces and kind of knowing that there's some level you're trading, there wasn't really one on deck until we saw something like Bitcoin hit that low. Little bit of liquidity grab as we grabbed a little bit lower in price, probably a couple of tight stops being absorbed, and then the asset actually bounced, which corresponded with our S&P bounce. So whether you're looking at correlations or you're just kind of trying to understand yesterday's volatility, to me, a lot of the volatility was experienced in crypto and it bled over into equities. That's usually true because portfolios have to manage multiple positions. And as one starts to fall, you might have some mild liquidation in another. Same thing with rising assets. It's really about just balancing the risk. So that's kind of where I'll leave it for today. I think crypto is going to be in focus for a little while as this news kind of gets absorbed throughout the rest of the transition. And what long-term effects does it have, I think is kind of up for us to monitor. Price-wise, though, we are seeing the assets come in and basically test their lows. So be extremely careful, just assuming that we can't break down once again. Assets like Bitcoin could be seeing fresh lows in the next couple of weeks, and that volatility might actually continue to be reflected in the equities market. So I think that's all the time I have. I wanted to cover a few other things, but we'll save that for tomorrow. Trade safe today. Be aware of the catalyst coming up next couple days. And as always, stay tuned for pre-market prep. Like and subscribe if you like what we cover, and we'll talk more then.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning and hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing good, my friend. Doing good. Um, Guys, let's give Jared a big thumbs up for engineering the markets every Monday through Thursday.
Absolutely.
We appreciate that very much as he gives us the overview, macro type situation, what's going on with the market. So thank you for that. Uh, let's get into some of the stuff we have gapping up today. There's so much going on at the moment, both on news, big companies, layoffs, Elon selling shares. I mean, just midterm results, everything happening this morning. But the market not reacting as crazy for the most part, right? So it's kind of been much of a flat opening. We'll see if how that continues. Slightly down, but not a huge impact norm so far, as we're seeing here.
Yeah, results. We still have gridlock. The red wave was quite muted. It seems we're not. Things could change. There are some Senate races out there. It looks like the House will be taken by Republicans as anticipated.
Hmm.
If you had to bet, the wise one right now would probably be that the Senate stays blue, or 50-50 split. So that still causes gridlock, but it's not to the degree that people had anticipated or some had
Hmm.
hoped for or any of that. So we'll see. We could get moves throughout the day as races get called if they do. I will say this: this is likely going to be dragging on for over a month. Georgia
Yeah.
going to a runoff. It could be middle of December by the time we know for sure who has what and what's going on. So, yeah,
Yep, yep, absolutely. At the moment, guys, her gap up in a down list. Not a lot going on in the gap up. Couple of names here. Meta with the layoff actually up quite a bit this morning. We'll get into that. And then some stuff here gapping down. We got the some Chinese tickers as well on the downside today. So we'll dive into all of that. Before we do that, let's get into our market pulse and see what's going on with the overall news.
well, yeah, just went through a lot of that. We got wholesale inventories 10 a.m. and then Richmond Fed president speaking at 11. So there you
All
go.
right, excellent. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get to our list this morning. Yesterday we had a pretty good list yesterday. Tons of stuff that was moving. I mean, you had Nvidia that did very well, especially the entire day. You had tons of moves happening here, both up and down. Look at the sell-off towards the afternoon parts of the day. Coast again. I don't know what happened to Coast, but it popped up pre-market and then just didn't do much here. So again, just interesting. Not a whole lot going on there. Definitely was not a stock that was in play. And Lyft actually was surprising with the way it traded yesterday. It was actually a lot more active than I thought it was going to be. You can see here the drop and the continuation. Also in later parts of the day, getting a nice drop there as well. Then we had Neo, which again continues to be extremely active at the market open. Had a nice bounce as well and just kept trading throughout the entire day, both up and down here. Apple had tons of volume. Rough start, very interesting start, by the way these candles set up here. But after an hour, 30 minutes, it got really nice here, guys. Look at the pop that you receive all the way to the high of the day at that time, even further. And then you got this drop, right? You got the drop right back to the VIA, which happened very aggressive. Three candles there. That's a 15-minute drop. And then continue right after that, all the way down to making a new low of the day. But then it shoots right back up to where it started the morning. So again, just a whole lot of movement on Apple yesterday. Definitely was heavily in play. Here's an AMD, very similar to what Apple did, except Apple moved a lot more. And then of course Tesla, with Elon selling a lot of his shares last week. Looks like you see the drop here this morning and also getting a little bit of a bounce today. This thing is going to be in play today as well because I think it was just reported yesterday that he has
He was
sold.
selling yesterday.
Oh, he was he selling yesterday as well?
Yeah,
'Cause
apparently that was. That's the report I heard. I have not seen the filing myself, but that's what I
Yeah,
heard.
because the filing showed that it was like November 4th, he sold a ton of shares, right? So we'll see if yesterday, I would not be surprised if yesterday was the same thing as well. All right, guys. So that's what we had yesterday. A lot going on here. Let's remove our gappers list from yesterday or our watch list, and let's dive into what's going on today. First on the list, ARRY, and I recall this ticker being active in the past.
Yeah, it has been. We've had it on our list before. It's a solar
Right.
company. They had earnings last night.
All right, so big pop here this morning. Not great volume for the type of move that it is, up 16%. So on this one, guys, we're going to need a whole lot more volume. It doesn't trade very well for the most part, but we have seen it on our list when it does have like earnings or any type of news, right? Like we saw here. Maybe a possible. It does need more volume though. It cannot stay at like
Yeah,
this type
I'll
of
agree
volume.
with that for
200,000,
sure.
way too low for the type of moves that we're getting. Um, at the moment, spread is not bad, 5 cents, maybe 10 there, but just be on the lookout for that. All right, next we have KALA, Kala here, pharmaceuticals. No, it's nothing really happening here. Very light on volume for the most part, so not a whole lot of movement. Let's take a look at TTD, and this is the trade desk. Not a great intraday trader, Norm. I know you've seen this one in the past plenty of times. Up 7.2. We have earnings or some kind of news today.
Yeah, they had earnings this morning. I'm a little surprised. This is a digital advertising platform where media buyers and media sellers, therefore on the other side of that, transact um, instead of through people. They do it through that system. With advertising as hard hit as it has been recently, I'm surprised to see
them up this morning 7%. So yeah, that's maybe a lot of that could have been baked in here because you see the last couple of days they have been pretty much on a downtrend there. So let's see what happens there. Again, hit or miss, guys. It looks actually decent pre-market right now. Not great, but not horrible. So TTD, we'll add them on here as a possible. Might not stay there, I guess. It's a tough ticker to trade at times. Here's Meta, definitely in play today with a 11,000 employee layoff, right, Nora? I mean, it's quite a bit for this
13%
company.
of their workforce. I think the change in tone here is the biggest thing, and we'll see how this plays out if these gains hold. But really, the statement that was put out seemed like I listened. I sat in on their earnings call,
Mm,
this last one. Zuckerberg is pretty stubbornly just said we're going to spend as much as it takes to do this metaverse thing, and people
yeah.
are hating it for that, just burning all their cash, a tremendous amount of cash. And it seems like he's made a slight pivot there. Maybe based on the statement, maybe he's listening to the market, so that might help it. It'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a good one today.
Yeah.
Top of my list.
Definitely top of the list. And I saw the letter that he sent out to the employees after the layoffs. And, he's taking responsibility. He said they invested way too much after the
Yeah.
pandemic, thinking things were going to go up. And he took responsibility that he was wrong. But in the same sentence, he says, they're fully committed to this metaverse. He is not backing down. And he's actually projecting in the next few years, he's going to lose more than the 9.1 billion he has lost already. So it's crazy how committed he is to this metaverse thing. So we'll see how that's going to play out.
Getting Brett over on YouTube. Meta is advertising the hell out of the metaverse in the UK.
Yeah.
Please make them stop.
They're doing the same over here, man. There's tons of commercials with the goggles everywhere. So, and he said it in his letter. He's a lot of money is going to advertising to get this thing running in 3-4 years. It's a long time advertising. Hopefully, it doesn't go bankrupt before then. All right, guys. So Meta, yeah, definitely in play. 4.8 million, up 3.8, breaking
I'm
some levels
currently in
here.
short from
Oh,
171.
very, very nice.
So
Yeah,
got a
it
little
looks
bit.
good. Looks very good to come back and retest some of these 99, 50, 99 levels. So excellent. And I'm sure, I guarantee there's some profit taken here, guys. There's people stuck here, right? There's people that probably got
Yeah.
long here thinking that, hey, this is going to close the gap. And next you know, you're dropping down to 88. I won't be surprised. People are looking at this. Hey, we're at 101. Let's get out of this, and that's going to help bring it down a little bit. Do you guys think Tesla will go up or up today and reject 195? I don't know. Let's look at Tesla now because Tesla is another one that's going to be heavily in play. I'm not sure, man. This it's going to be in play. It all depends how people react to Elon selling. Is he done selling? I mean, he sold quite a bit. But that's never good news, right? You never want to see the owner selling his shares. I won't be surprised if this thing drops down further. So we'll have to see. It's already dropped down quite a bit, by the way, the last couple of days. So
Yeah.
let's see. Let's see. TSM, no, it's a foreign company, and they can be in play at times. When they're in play, I'd rather watch something else like an Nvidia, AMD. They usually are moving on sympathy or something. So I'm not a big fan of TSM, although I know they can trade very well. They have in the past. Let's see what's gapping down today. We have UPST this
They're
morning
talking
down.
about expanding their facility in Arizona. That's the news there.
TSM.
Yeah.
Nice. That's positive news for them, up 2.2 this morning. UPST, guys, this one is down 21%, so getting crushed this morning.
Earnings
Upstart,
last night.
what kind of companies? I know you know, Norm, because we talked about it before, but I forget. Upstart is I'm not sure
It's
what they do.
credit AI based. I don't
Okay.
know. This
Yeah.
is one like it's very weird, man. It's loans based on AI. I think it's some of that like Affirm stuff. So
Oh,
uh,
okay. Gotcha.
direct to
They're
consumer loans based on AI and less credit score thing kind of deal. I
got
don't
it.
quite understand it.
Oh, okay. They're down, guys, big today, 21%. We have traded this in the past. They have days where they can trade very well. Today, I do like this drop here. I do like the volume we're getting. I don't think it's a great ticker to intraday trade, so I'm going to put them as a possible next to TDD and also ARRY, which again, why did I put this on here? ARRY? I don't think we meant to put this on here, did we? No, I don't think we did. So I'm going to take this one off. I think we were just talking about it, but I don't want that there. Let's look at DWAC. DWAC was wild yesterday. You guys saw the trade that Thor took on this. He got long right around this, I believe around here, and got this squeeze all the way up to about 30 or so. So just insane. Very active, guys. Again, this morning down 17%. It might just be coming down to reality here. I mean, this pop was basically
I think that
Wall
one's
Street
going to be a
bets,
tough one.
right?
Tough one to trade. This is all a bet on Trump running
Yeah,
and
yeah.
getting attention. And I'm not going to get political here, but I got to say the results that were last night, the way they appear right now, are not good news for him.
All right, so that's
A
probably
lot
where
of the
we're
people
getting.
that he promoted have lost.
Right. So not a
So
good look for him there. And this is why you're getting this drop this morning. So
yeah,
again, guys, this is more, and aside from the catalyst itself, which is more of a gamble depending on what comes out at any given time today, um, it trades horrible. Like you got to be very careful. This thing, I mean, Thor got in perfectly and he timed it, and he's an experienced trader. But for the most part, the price action was very wild. So be very careful managing risk on this thing. I won't add it to my list. I think it's just going to come back down to reality. We have hard to borrow on this thing. SSR as well. So just be careful on that one. Roblox today, wow, down 14%, 2.3 million. I thought they had earnings already. They have earnings.
they had earnings this morning.
Oh, this morning. Okay. Yeah, I like Roblox. Once in a while they do some pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna add Roblox to our list here, and see how that goes. So again, great volume, 2.3 million right now. Nice big drop after earnings today. Trying to hold on to this level of support they have here on the daily. I mean, just barely hanging on at the moment. A firm is up. Oh no, excuse me, not up. It's up from the pre-market lows, but it's down 13%. I guess Upstart, right? Similar
No,
situation.
they had earnings last night. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they had earnings last night. That is not helping them at all. So let's add a firm today. I do like their volume this morning. I like their drop here. So yeah, definitely on deck to see what takes place here. Heading down, we have CSI. No, it down 8%. No volume. No, let's move down. Disney.
Did you say
Disney.
yes is no?
Yeah, I say yes, no to C. Yeah. No to yes or whatever you want to say. Disney, guys, Disney earnings last night. And they got a crush, looks like. Let me see. I haven't looked at this yet. Oh,
Not great.
oh man. So not good for them here. Down 8.1, 786,000. Was it? I'm not sure if you looked at the details. Was it the guidance norm? Streaming? Do we know? Any
Streaming
specifics?
problem primarily, I believe.
Yeah. So
But I mean, there were several, but streaming was a big part of it.
yeah,
Being
gotcha.
profitable there is causing problems. That's why, I mean, all these media companies have reported, and they've been pretty bad. I mean, social media, traditional media, streaming media,
Yeah,
for the most part, they've been pretty bad. And
man.
that's why I was surprised to see the trade desk up like it is.
Yeah, especially with ads being just horrible. Everyone's reporting that Google, everybody's reporting how bad ads are right now. That whole business. So Disney down 8%, guys. Great volume. Today's definitely in play. We'll see at the market open what that brings. Lucid on here as well, up down 7.1.
We had
It's
earnings last
okay.
night as well.
Oh, they did. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like them on earnings, so we'll put them on here.
The number of pre-orders or reservations or whatever they call them for their cars has dropped.
Yeah. Now, the one thing with Lucid, guys, it hasn't traded well in a long time. I mean, we have not looked at it in a while. So, but maybe today with this catalyst, it can do something. Volume is okay, not great, but let's see what it does. We're getting into some Chinese tickers here. We have Billy, we have XBEV, we have a ton here, Neo. Everything's on here, Neo, Baba. So you guys know my two favorite, right? It's gonna be Baba and Neo. So I'm gonna look at those. But Baba, I mean, they got some volume, 738,000. Could be a good possible. I like the daily here. If we start losing some of these support levels that we have right over here, that's good. And then Neo, let's see how much volume they have this morning. Yesterday, they were not as easy to trade. Today, they're down 4.3 with some good volume. I like Neo, but not as a main one today. I think our list today is looking really good with Meta, Tesla, especially. Even Affirm today is one that looks really nice. That can be a possibility of going today. So we'll see where this goes here. Let's head down over to NVIDIA. NVIDIA on deck this morning. They are down 2.4. NVIDIA is good. I like NVIDIA as well. Put NVIDIA on there. Excellent. We'll stop here. Norm, what do you like on your end this morning?
Still looking. I mean, I really like Meta. I like NVIDIA.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got Amazon on deck, even though it's completely flat. It's traded 800,000 shares. I'm waiting for that to do something out of the range it's in right now. See at what point it bottoms and maybe comes back up or falls more. We'll see. But that one's more of a longer term. It's just on my list. I'm keeping it. I'm not saying it's going to do anything today, but I mean, there's plenty.
Yeah, Amazon, this day looks so interesting, man. I'm with you here. Look at this range we're stuck in. Looks like we might be finding support here around 80, 89, looks like. But let's see. Day looks very, very interesting. All right, let's take it to the room, guys. We have Coin. What's going on with Coin, Mara, and these guys? I know were they making new lows or something? I forgot what they were doing as far as Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's getting slaughtered. I mean, there have been problems. Jared went through this in engineering the markets, but the crypto markets have been rattled once again by more issues. And Bitcoin has broken below this 18,000 that it's been holding on for dear life for a while. So we'll see what happens with it.
Yeah. So here is Coinbase. I actually just opened an account with Coinbase. And man, it was a pain in the behind to get everything going. So we'll see. But here they are, guys. They are down 5.8 this morning. 1 million shares traded. This daily, though, man, look at this. It's nothing but red. Gap up and still selling down. So it has not been pretty for them. Look at the volume you got yesterday. This is interesting. I like Coin today. How about the other ones? Mara's not looking as great. How about what's the other one? Riot. Riot's usually horrible. Yeah, Coin is the one that's really looking decent. Yeah, let's add Coin to the list. Normally I wouldn't add these guys, but they look really interesting today. Heading down here, Neo, Sympathy Play on trading. Yeah, but Neo, you know what? Neo and Baba usually get great volume. So it could be a Sympathy Play. I agree. Yeah, let's see. I still like Neo over Lucid at times, just the way he trades. Jason's giving us AMD, the daily. Yeah, it's kind of been stuck here, right? It has had a hard time, first of all, getting above this level. We're right back below this level, or right on it at least, right? We had a couple of ranges here, these two, and then you obviously have this one and this one, right? So you got the stuck in here, stuck in there. We kind of broke out, and now we're back in it. So could be interesting. I love the pre-market action though, down 2%, 461,000. Yeah, man, we're gonna have a long list today. AMD looks good. I like that. Mac, to the garbage tier of the day. Let's see. What is Mac up to? Ah, look at this. Up 220%. About. Okay. What is going on with these guys? What is happening? 220%. I haven't seen those numbers in a while.
Low float biotech. I don't see any news immediately. So possibly pump and dumpage. I don't know.
Could be, man. Guys, careful. I'm gonna add it here
Yeah.
to our low flow garbage pile. It is in play, no question, but you gotta have a strategy and know what you're doing here. So very careful. Uh, I need to buy more monitors for the main list. Really, it's a great list already. I think we're gonna stop here. By the way, let's check
Market
over on
shape, yeah.
let's check over on YouTube in case we may miss anything. Coin is also interesting. Yeah, stock pigeon coin is good. There's drama between SBF and Binance. Yeah, it could be. A-Firm and Upstart down 19-40%. Yeah, both of them are definitely in play. I got I got A-Firm on my list. Don't forget HUDI. No, wasn't this the garbage? No, this is the
Yeah, that
garbage.
was
The garbage
uh-huh,
here. No.
from yesterday.
All right, we're good. A lot of stuff you guys are saying we already have on the list. Let's get over to our community events and announcements, guys. We're going to head over to our website, bearbulltraders.com.
Bearbulltraders.com/webinars, or you can navigate to it by clicking webinars in the nav bar at the top. Don't forget every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, onboarding technology with Carlos, especially if you're a newer trader, check that out. Tuesdays is for strategy. Next Tuesday, we've got Peter talking about creating and maintaining a trading journal. Then we've got some space in there. Oh, we've got Thanksgiving, which we don't do these Thanksgiving week generally. And then on the 29th, we've got Andrew talking about coming to my trading room. That's going to be just the basics of everything about his setup, how he trades, his thoughts, and so on and so forth. Like a 30,000 foot view. All right. And then on Wednesdays tonight, we've got Crate at 5 p.m. Note her special time. She's going to be talking about how to identify negative thinking. And then we've got a new guest next week, Kim Ann Curtin. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern, talking about the invisible threat to your trading account, trading slumps and such. So check her out. She'll be new. Be sure to welcome her. Excited to have a new guest. Thursdays is mentorship. You can go see John at 11 a.m. and Thor at 8. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all your informational needs, go to tradingterminal.com, where you'll find the earnings calendar. You can find fundamental data, news, and of course the simulator on there, or you can get to it at stocktradingsimulator.com. Free web-based replay simulator. Hone your trading skills 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. If you're watching on YouTube, haven't been in the room, use the promo code PreMarket24. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which bills you one time. It's not recurring. And it's 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. And if you're looking to become an elite member, use the promo code READ50 to get half off the elite annual membership.
All right. Thank you very much, Norm. Guys, just a reminder. So the ebook for Thor is out, so available on Amazon right now. So definitely go ahead and check that out. Here's we'll put the link in the chat as well. Actually, can I click here? Yeah, I believe I can. I'll share this entire thing, so you can also follow him on Twitter as well. So copy link here. That's the link to the book and his Twitter account. So definitely check it out. Very much anticipated there. So I'm sure he's excited to finally get this thing rolling, and then hard copies and all that stuff will be available later down the line. So definitely check that out. I'm sure you're going to learn a ton, and already people have bought it and at least are halfway through it, and they're saying how great this book is. So definitely check that out. All right, guys, perfect. Let's get to our list here. We have Meta. We have Tesla. We have, look at Tesla. Tesla's gonna be ugly today, guys. Again, this guy is selling all these shares. Forgot the number. It was something ridiculous, like 20 not million. I think it was a huge number of shares. So There's Tesla dropping down from 191 towards the previous day close. We have Roblox, a big drop for them this morning. Love the volume. We just got to see how that's going to trend the market open. A-Firm has a great pre-market activity. Typically not one that I like, but today they look very active. Disney is good, not a great. Nvidia drop. Is the SPY dropping?
So
With the Qs?
just to clarify,
Yeah.
Musk has sold roughly 9.5 million shares on the 4th. He sold 5.5 million shares on the 7th. So that was on Monday. And then yesterday he sold 4.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk. That is a big chunk. And
So
that's what
that
you're
is
seeing now.
about
Here.
roughly $4 billion.
Yeah. And he sold yesterday too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is all
He
his
sold
fault right
he
here.
sold a little bit less each day, but that first day or yesterday he sold about $843 million worth.
All right, would make sense because this price is going to drop. Try to get the best price possible. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So let's see how that's going to react. Some people are hearing these numbers for the first time today, and I'm sure they're probably not going to be happy.
Yeah, these were all filed last night.
Right.
So
right.
my guess is he might be done now with that filing.
Yeah. So let's see how it happens when the market hits here. But right now, not looking good.
Be interesting. I'll have my eye on it for sure.
Absolutely. So guys, here we have Nvidia, as I mentioned, also dropping quite a bit here. Coin's going to be interesting, and also AMD. We got tons of stuff here. On our secondary, let's have Amazon not doing a whole lot, but their daily looks amazing. Upstart, but A-Firm for me is going to be a little bit better, but they're also in play. They got great volume. Trade Dex, Lucid, Baba, Neo. I mean, guys, you could take your pick. Let's try to reduce this list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, 7 is not bad. It's one more extra than what I would like to have, my normal 6. So we could do levels for all of this. We have time. We'll do daily levels, and then we can revisit things and see how we're doing here. And Mac is up now 240. Looks like it wants to go towards the high of the day over at a 1440 here. It's not every day, guys, you get to look at a stock up 242%. So that's some good entertainment there. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Levels here this morning. We are surrounded by the highs and lows. We're smacking up against the previous day close right now. You can see that right on there. And then below that, yesterday, we had a drop all the way down to 186.52. You have 8. I have Meta. Oh, thank you. See, Daniel's paying attention over on YouTube. He says I actually have 8 tickers. If I scroll up, Meta's right on here, which is another one that also looks very good, man. We have, all right, we'll have time for all 8. Thank you. Yeah, let's get to it. So here is going back to Tesla. Let's finish here, then we'll go back up to Meta. Right now, low of the pre-market is at looks like it's at 191.02. So we'll slam a level there. Let's see if that 191 is going to hold. We'll slam a level there, but the previous day close, obviously, that's the king of all levels, like Jared says, and let's see if that's gonna stay above that. We have not been down here in quite some time, as you will suspect. Let's look at a weekly and get back to 2020 and 2021 right on here. On the weekly, we do have a level over 182. Yeah, 182.64, and then slightly over here down to 179.77. So we'll mark those two. I think that's pretty good for right now on the weekly. Heading back to our daily, we are pretty much set here, guys. We got a few levels towards the bottom there of the weekly, and then we have our highs and lows. And then towards the top, this is a big gap here between these two levels, right? Let's find something in between. I think it's pretty clear what that level is going to be. Might be 200. I'm going to mark it down at 202.95 because you can see you got a couple of days around that area. So and also, again, you got to look out for 200, 199. The whole dollar numbers can play a part in this as well, although Tesla can run through dollars very aggressively, as you guys know. FYI, please have a look at the daily. No bottom below 88.50. No bottom below 88.50. Are you talking about Tesla? What are you talking about, Jeff? We'll come back to that because I have 82. I have 82.64 down here. So let me know what you're referring to. All right, let's take a look at Meta here, guys. So Meta this morning up 5.2. High of the pre-market right now. We're sitting at 102.10. So we'll slam a level there. in the pre-market already, you're seeing some areas of support and resistance. And I like this one. This $100 mark, of course, is going to be something that it could be a psychological level, just to make it even easy, right? So I'm going to mark that there as well. And then towards the top, we don't have above this 102. We don't have a whole lot recently, right? Because we had the huge gap down a few weeks back. So if we look at this, there's no way we close that gap today. That's not happening. 122.75. Let's see here. Man, it's gonna be some time to find something in between here. We're gonna have to let's go to a weekly just to save some time. And we're looking at, is that correct? Yeah, we're looking at 2016, 2017, the last time we were in this range between 122, which was the before the gap down, all the way to the 101. I mean, that's a stretch for these guys. 114, 38. We put that level off the weekly there, and definitely like this one, 107. 39 is a great level off the weekly as well. So we'll mark those two just to have some midpoints here between this gap down that we had not so long ago. On the way up, we can see that we have some levels on there. All right, perfect. So that's Meta, that's Tesla. Let's look at Amazon. So Jeff, you're talking about Amazon 85. There's nothing below that. 85. Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing down here, right? Let's look at a weekly. We got to go back to like 2020. It's madness. Since we're back here, let's just do Amazon just in case you guys are going to be looking at this one. 85.25. You got a nice level there, all the way down here at 81.28. So let's keep that there for Amazon right now on my secondary list for now. But again, I like this daily, guys. You're seeing a lot of support right on here around 88. Not saying it's going to be today, but eventually I think this is personally, I think it's at a good price and people are going to see a value there for the future on Amazon. So it might cause some pop there. All right, so we have Roblox. Let's take a look here, guys. Big drop, down 15% almost. I love the pre-market down at 32.26. So we'll put a level there. And then if we head on over here to the left, price action right now sitting at a level. This 33.59, definitely a level. And you can see that here in the pre-market now. Look at the reaction we're getting against that. We're slamming up, slamming up, slamming up. Now it's an interesting situation we're coming up here because if you notice, we're making lower lows here as we're kind of slamming into a point here. So let's see what happens. Can go either way. It is very weak today, down 14.7. But it's trying to also hold the support on the daily as well. We have seen some good reaction to this level in the past. So big slam down for Roblox today. Roblox could be surprisingly a great intraday trading stock. I traded in the past many times when they have news, when they have volume, they usually have these spikes. And when they get this volume, they trade well. And today is already gearing up to be one of those type of days. So looking forward to Roblox this morning. Below 32.31 in case we do drop down back to the low of the pre-market at the morning. This morning, we do have 30.48, and then we also have down here that's more around 27.85. I think that's a stretch given how much we're down already, but we are prepared if that does happen. And then above 35, we do decide to get some kind of move like we have in the past. Look, every time we drop down, we find a way to push back up here. In some cases, really quickly. We do have highs and lows of the last two trading days on Roblox. So good volume. Let's see if it's going to hold these two levels that we have here, 32.31 and 33.54, trying to break out of that. So here's a firm, 1303, low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market, 1407. Towards the top, you're getting to your highs and lows of the last two trading days, previous day close. So a lot going on right on there. And then we'll see to the left, when was the last time we've been down here? We were having some support right on here back in May of this year. But if we go to a weekly now, because we're really going back, oh, are we at all-time low? Oh, yes, we are. All-time low, I think, guys, on a firm. Is that correct? I think that's what I'm seeing here. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Well below their IPO price. Man, this is not fun. This thing was just rocking it here all the way to 170. And then since then, it has not seen a green month, barely, just two on the monthly. Not fun. So A firm getting crushed here, guys, down huge right now. And there's nothing else below here. Nothing else below 1301, which is the low of the pre-market right now. Let's take a look at Disney, guys. So Disney, big drop for them. Again, just streaming services, ad services, all this stuff is just not the business you want to be in right now. 91.30, 91.20 is low of the pre-market. We saw some support in the past. Big rally off that support last time we were hanging out around these numbers. This is down 8.7. It's a big drop. So it's done. Are we looking to recover here? Let's see, 93.12 is the high of the pre-market, which also corresponds to some of these levels we're seeing here. Then you get into the gap down that we have. But before we do that, we do have some levels here. I'm going to mark down 95.50. Great area of support that you're seeing right on there across the board. So that is good for Disney. Not so long ago, July of this year, we did drop below to 90.29. I'm just going to mark down this year. We had a great bounce after that in July. If we drop below this and this is something I'm looking at and in play, then I'll look to find more levels on the weekly. We'll go back. But for the most part, that's what I'm sticking with right now. So let's see what Disney does at the market open. Really good right now. Great pre-market action. Good volume after earnings last night. Here is NVIDIA. NVIDIA's dropping quite a bit. It was pretty much flat when it opened up this morning. Now we're down 3.2 on this thing. Low of the pre-market 41.10. So let's drop a level there. Towards the top, guys, you really do not need to add anything else. I mean, you're covered all the way to almost 148.70, right, with highs and lows in previous day close. If we look towards the bottom, you do have your low of 2 trading days ago, around 139.52. So you're covered there. Below that, just in case we're going to have a little bit of a massacre on NVIDIA, it's going to be down to 137. It's a big level there. You see tons of resistance across the board on this one when it comes to that 137.33. But let's see what's happening here. Down 3% already, so really having a nice drop this morning. And then the coin, this one is just getting crushed, as we mentioned. Every day in here has been red. Ever since October 26th, we have not had a green day. Even the gap ups has tried to rally and ended red. I mean, it's just no mercy, as our good buddy would say, Andrew. No mercy for coin here this morning in the last couple of days. So levels below the 47.37, 44.14. We also have this one little guy over here, 45.97. We'll mark that down towards the top. Highs and lows, guys. Don't really need to do anything here. The work is done for you. All right. Last but not least on the list, AMD. We'll look at AMD. AMD's daily is just like it doesn't want to sell off, but it doesn't want to pop up. It's just sideways action here, with some breakouts. We're back into the mix over here. And it's funny because other tickers that are similar to this one, like Nvidia, have broken now, have moved in the last couple of weeks. AMD is just steady. So around the 62, 61, 60 level. Love the pre-market activity today. It looks really good, very active. Volume is at 600,000. We've seen more, but this is not bad at all. 62.22 is the low of the pre-market there. Let's see if we're going to hold. And you can see the tons of resistance and support we have had here in the past. So that's a level that AMD loves to flirt with. If it does drop below that, we got another great level down at 60. And then you start getting back into the range that we've kind of been stuck in, right? First range, and then second here, a little bigger. A couple of breakouts, but for the most part, this 58 and 56.10 are the levels you want to be on the lookout for. Perfect. That's our list, guys. I got probably one or two too many. I'm gonna fine tune this as I get closer to 9:30, the opening. But this looks good. You got a ton of stuff to choose from this morning. Let's take a look at our moderators list. I see a few are out here: Mike, Susan, Thor. Peter's reporting no IPOs and no SPACs for today. Robert's asking, Carlos, do you expect NVIDIA to move with Bitcoin the coming days? Why would they? Is there a connection between these two? If there is, I have not read up on that, or I'm not aware of why these two would be connected.
What's that?
Do we expect NVIDIA to move with BTC in the coming days?
The reason they're connected is because people use their game cards to mine crypto.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
I don't know. It's not quite as tied to that as it used to be, because as crypto fell, it became less and less of a factor.
Yeah, I think if you have your rig set up, I don't think there's people I don't think there's been people diving to buy equipment since the pandemic kind of eased up a little, right? People are spending their money getting out and doing other things. So I don't think that's going to affect them as much. If you're stuck with your rig, you're stuck with your rig, right? I guess mining's not a good thing right now. But yeah, I don't think that's going to affect this. My opinion, again, we'll need some professionals that can dive deep into that. Let's bring our moderators watch list here this morning. People are calling out Roblox. What's going on? Oh, man, look at this. Roblox is doing its thing. Very nice. All right, let's bring our list here. See what our moderators are looking at this morning. We're going to go ahead and disable this. As I'm doing this, guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We appreciate it very, very much. Sitting at 140 likes. We would love to be above 200. That would be incredible if we could do that. Help us get there. It does help the channel a ton, guys. You'd be surprised. I'll go crazy when you hit that little button. They like, it's like they start salivating behind the machines there. So let's make them go crazy. All right, guys. Here it is. What do we have? We have Mike. Let's start there. He's looking at Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla. Susan, Tesla, Netflix, and Nvidia, and secondary list Meta. So again, we're going to see all these tickers here across the board. They're going to be on everybody's list because they are on fire today. Thor, Disney, Nvidia, Meta, Tesla, SPYs in the queue today. And then, as Peter reported earlier, no IPOs, no SPACs this morning or for today. So Roblox to the moon. Literally, Roblox is broke out as 33.54 pretty nicely. Let's see if it can get to that 35.82. So that is looking very, very good there. It's in play, man. When Roblox gets volume, it can trade extremely well. And I think today's one of their days where I definitely want to have them on my list. Norm, anything that we didn't look at Apple today? What's going on with Apple? Let's take a look. And nobody mentioned it. Very strange.
Too much good stuff.
Yeah, Apple's actually quiet. Actually quiet. I mean, it'll get volume, but was it yesterday? Yeah, actually, it was good yesterday. Horrible start, but it turned out to be decent later down the line. Gonzalo, thank you, my friend. Thank you for always tuning in. Appreciate you over on YouTube. And guys, we are all set. Brian is up next, probably trading with Thor live this morning. So look forward to that. Guys, don't forget Thor's book, ebook is out over on Amazon. Link is in both chats. So definitely take advantage of that. Be the first one to get in there and receive all that wealth of knowledge. So guys, take care, trade safe. And we will see you guys. What's tonight? Tonight's strategy. And we have Creda, I believe. No, I'm sorry. Psychology.
And half of it right.
Yeah, I got half of it right. But I got more right than Mark Zuckerberg has had in the last couple of months. So that's okay.
Very true.
Guys, take care. I will see you. No, Brian's list is not out yet, Jamie. Let's see. Is he on here? They're asking for Brian's list. We would love to give it to you. Brian's probably putting on a shirt. He's not in the chat yet. So we'll have it for you in a few in chat. Take care, guys. Trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.